Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fantasy Football Universe. I am Aaron St. Dennis. Follow me everywhere at FF Mad Scientist. The guy with the cup is Jesse Moeller at JMoeller05. And the guy with the earbuds, he's Jeremy Shulman at FF_Rebel. He is apparently shadow boxing. That's how you know we had a good week, man. We had a good week. I'm sitting there and in the group chat, and I see blowing up, oh, you hit this call, and I hit that call. We had a good week. Was there anybody who killed either of you guys? I'm trying to think. I'm
sure there were somewhere.
Trying to think.
I'm sure.
Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, Deontay, Marvin Harris. Like, there are some guys that I'm just like, like I was talking about, I'm cursed in one of my home leagues. I just can't win that league. So I'm just like, all the other leagues were good. That one league is just like tooth and nail. We're fighting.
Heard a lot of Tank Bigsby.
The leagues that mattered, I got through it. And I'll tell you the best thing I ever did in Scott Fishbowl, drafting Geno Smith in the double-digit rounds. Because I got Anthony Richardson and Geno Smith is keeping me. I'm going to go to 8-2, and it's all Geno Smith.
Oh,
nice.
Hell yeah. So let's get into it. Damn it. I got so many things I was trying to tell you guys. I had some side issues here going on with my kids, one of my kids' accounts. And so I did not bring the sleeper up. You'll have to give me 30 seconds just so I can grab this so I have scores for us. We're going to start with, who's that in the comments? 10-man. Let's start with this then before we get into it. 10-man PPR. Burrow, Jacobs, Gibbs, CD. Holy fuck, this is a stacked roster. Should I trade Worthy for Hawk since Kincaid is a disappointment?
Yes.
Immediately.
Yes.
Ship him.
Do it.
Yeah, you can
do it before the game tonight. Do that.
Like, Mooney will give you plenty. Like, he'll probably outproduce like Worthy, I would think. The way his roster is. Like, there's the upside shot for Worthy, but yeah, you need tight ends. That's a kind of a hole in your roster for Kincaid. So yeah, I'd take that.
Hawk could be back next week.
Yeah,
like
I'm totally dropping Myers for Mooney immediately as well. And then to get Tank, are you dropping anybody?
I mean, yeah, you can make the case for Ford and the offense, how terrible it is.
He doesn't have the running back depth, though, really, to drop Ford. Otherwise, that's what I thought, too, but...
Yeah, like if you want the upside shot of Tank, like I'm fine taking that because of your roster.
Okay. Call me crazy, but he's pretty stacked at receiver. You're never gonna play Wicks. I don't say drop him.
Yes,
try and trade him for something.
Yeah.
Agree.
Trade Wicks and Ford for something for one player.
I agree. He just didn't have the week that we want. Coming off of a kind of a down week, you have to see what you can get. But yeah, I agree with that as well.
Yeah, he led the team in targets, like target share, like routes. Like it was there, he just didn't hit. So like I understand it.
All right, let's get into it. Tampa at Atlanta, 36-30 Falcons over the Bucks. We'll start with the Tampa side. Rachaad White isn't a top 24 running back rest of season. At this point, he may not be a top 44 running back rest of season. Thoughts, gentlemen? Thoughts?
Oh, goodness.
No thoughts. My mind is empty. There are no thoughts here.
Your mind is empty.
All right. Yes. Well, my mind is usually empty. But here's the thing, right, is that when we're talking about the Buccaneers, this is the same situation that we saw play out yesterday in Jacksonville, right? Except these guys are actually splitting carries pretty much down the middle. They have for the last two games. Rachaad White was actually more efficient on his carries, but he just had one long run, right? And then the rest of it was kind of crap. So Bucky looks better. Bucky is better running the ball. And Bucky's actually been involved, and he was a little bit more productive in the receiving game. So for me, Rachaad White is kind of toast. These guys are together like we've been talking about for the last week or two. They're both RB3s for me.
Fantasy football is like that, man. I had weeks where I put up 200 and lose, then I put up 120 and win. Gotta love fantasy. Sorry, Jesse.
No, you're fine. Yeah, like Rachaad still saw like he was on the field more. He ran more routes. He kind of had like I think the hard part for Bucky is really taking that passing down role for him. I don't know how he takes that because Rachaad White's been a good NFL wide receiver, aka playing running back. That's his bonus spot right there. That's where he's the best. Like that's how he survives. He does good. So I think it's good. They're going to like bounce off each other. Some guys will be up and down each week. I think maybe it's game script dependent. I don't have confidence either one being a top 24 back. It's possible, but like if we're comparing him to Najee, I'm taking Rachaad White over Najee Harris. I'll tell you that much.
This is the same with the ETN situation. It's like, well, he's better on the ground, but how does he take the pass? He doesn't. That's why we drafted these guys so high, because they're safe. Because no matter how good Bigsby is or how good Bucky is, they're still not getting the passing downs work. I don't think. I don't see a scenario where it happens. So. You're going to end up with a two-headed backfield where one guy's getting all the rushing work and one guy's getting all the passing work, and they're just cannibalizing each other, which is why it's frustrating. Rest of the season, White or Najee?
White all day. I don't want to touch Najee. I was saying this off screen. Like, I would be fine dropping Najee Harris. He's not doing anything for you. He had a dream matchup, plenty of opportunities, and he has the most touches without a touchdown. And that the problem is the offense gets 4 touchdowns. So, like, I just don't see the point in Najee Harris. So, see you, Najee. I'm paying Rachaad.
I will say that whoever Pittsburgh was rolling out behind Najee looked awful. It was like Champlin. And, guys I've never even heard of before. Jonathan Ward, I've at least heard of, a couple years ago. No, Jalen Warren, whatever the hell is wrong with Jalen Warren's knee, whenever that gets sorted out, he's the number one. And if Patterson is back, he's going to start eating.
Okay.
So, Harris looked terrible.
He gets back and he's healthy. Rachaad White or Jalen Warren?
I'll go Warren there.
Yeah, I don't mind the upside shot of Warren. I think, like, to your point, Cordarrelle Patterson, who's 33 years old, looked far more explosive than Najee Harris. Like, he looked better when they were playing last week. So, like, Najee just doesn't have the juice. And if you don't have the juice, man, like, it's just a draft capital problem. That's all it is.
He looked like an old man out there.
Yeah, he does.
Atlanta side, Darnell Mooney's a top 24 receiver rest of season. I know that's pretty high. I think personally, I see him as more of a 3 with wide receiver 2 upside, but I could see it. I mean, wide receiver, top 24 is starting to look pretty fucking thin between injuries and Michael Pittman's.
Yes.
I feel like Jesse's going to disagree with me, so I'm going to go ahead and M&M him by giving him all the reasons why Darnell Mooney shouldn't be a top 24 wide receiver. So, the Falcons threw it 58 times last week, right? That volume isn't going to be there every week. Bijan Robinson's going to be better and soak up some of those targets, but more volume on the ground. They're going to try to be more balanced. Drake London has busted out. Kyle Pitts even has some targets, and they were pushing the ball downfield to him early. I don't care. Kirk Cousins is like the Matthew Stafford light of wide receiver kingmakers at this point of his career. We saw it last year with Jordan Addison when Addison was out. It wasn't Naylor last year. It was Brandon Powell, right? Was viable for a few games. It's just kind of ridiculous. The wide receiver 2 on these teams, and it's clearly Mooney, just eat. I think he's a wide receiver 2 with high-end wide receiver 2 upside weekly.
You know what the most far-fetched, sorry to interrupt, the most far-fetched out of all the things you said is that Bijan Robinson's going to be better. And that's a scary statement in itself because is he really? At this point, who the fuck knows? Sorry, go ahead, Jesse. I'm sure you were going to M&M him back there.
It's interesting with Mooney because the Falcons are like over 36 passing attempts a game. It's entirely possible. And he's the second pass catcher on that offense. Like, I think he's very good. I think top 24 is pushing a little bit. If you look at his expected points, he's like wide receiver 22. He's borderline on wide receiver 2. I will say, we're not going to get game trips like Jeremy was talking about last week. Like, that's really difficult to support. But, I think he can give you at least 6 targets a game. And if you're giving at least 6 targets a game, because that's what he's averaging plus that, I think he's fine. And in the Kirk Cousins offense, we're seeing that. The weird thing is he stretches the field. That's what he provides for that offense. Drake London is more the intermediate underneath. He stretches it, and, Kirk Cousins is looking his way and giving him a lot of first reads. So, I think he's more or less likely a top 36 wide receiver because we're going to get people coming back and healthy. But, you can make the case for sure.
I said on here rest of season Mooney or McConkey, but at this point it might be Mooney or Tyreek.
Mm-hmm.
Scary.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Scary. All right. Let's move on to the next one. We have Vikings 23, Jets 17 over in London. Aaron Rodgers is unplayable even in Superflex at this point. That's a really low bar. Tells you how I feel.
What do you got, Jesse?
I mean, I don't know how you start him at this point. It's just been a disaster with that offense. And people are blaming Hackett. Dude, this is the Rodgers offense. This is what Rodgers wants to do. He's all his time going back to Green Bay. He's always been league leaders and slowing it down, having the slowest pace of play. They've just been hyper efficient because Rodgers has been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. The problem is he's not that guy anymore. So, I don't know how you make the case for him each week confidently starting him because it's just not connecting. And particularly, he absolutely peppered Garrett Wilson. And it took them 22 targets to get him 100 yards. It was borderline impossible to get him triple digits. So, Yeah, like I get it. It's just I don't know. Rodgers is blaming everyone else, but I think he needs to look in the mirror because like he was blaming Wilson about not connecting. I'm like, dude, you're the guy, you're the quarterback. You got to connect with their wide receivers. So
No.
yeah, I'm not gonna have Rodgers inside like my top 20. So no, thank you. And I don't mind like starting Danny Dimes over him because like we saw like last week in good matchups, Danny Dimes is fine because he gives you the rushing. So,
Aaron Rodgers would never do that. You're telling lies. Jeremy, your thoughts?
The Jets offensive line has been on the struggle bus. They can't block anyone. There's guys you've heard of like Tyrone Smith, Morgan Moses, if he plays, Elijah Barrett Tucker. There's guys you've never heard of like Joe Tipman at center and an aging John Simpson at guard. Like this offensive line is not what it's meant to be, and they're hemorrhaging pressure. You saw it last play out yesterday in that single London game where they were just coming at Rodgers. He was down. He was being crushed right, left, and sideways. I mean, there's nothing that he can do about that. When Aaron Rodgers has protection, he's elite. When he doesn't, he's not immobile. He can't run around, avoid pressure like he used to. So those Garrett Wilson, look, he threw the ball 54 times last week. We're talking about Kirk Cousins not wanting to throw it 58 times. Rodgers threw 54 times, by far the most that he's done. But the last 3 weeks, 35, 42, and 54 attempts, they're trending in the wrong direction. They need to run the ball more, but they can't. Their line sucks.
And he got him 244 yards on that many attempts. That shows you how bad the offense is right now.
Real quick, we've been talking about it. I've been saying it. I've been harping on it. There's 3 terrible games in a row coming up: Buffalo, Pittsburgh, New England. This offense is going to suck. After that, it's great. Go get some Jets in about 2 weeks.
Well, y'all want to buy low in about week 6. That's probably when you're going to. That's gonna
Rodgers or Danny Dimes.
I'll take Dimes, dude. I'm fine doing Dimes. I'm fine.
Dimes. All right. Let's move on to the other side here, the Minnesota Vikings. If Aaron Jones misses time after the bye, CJ Ham is the guy to add and not Ty Chandler.
No, definitely take Chandler. He's going to be the focal point of that offense. Like Ham will give you some goal line looks and stuff like that because he's a bigger back. He's not going to play the focal point of the offense. He's not going to be the guy. Like if we're looking at his snaps yesterday, he had 23 snaps. Chandler had 46. Chandler ran more routes. He had more carries. Like he had more targets. I think it's entirely like I think Chandler's gonna be viable for you. He could give you close to what Aaron Jones did. I don't think it would Ham unless he's getting 3 goal line looks and 3 touchdowns, like a Garrett Blount performance.
Yeah, it's the route running 100%. I want Ty Chandler over Ham as well. Agree. Ham has the goal line, but I want the guy who has the ability to break it, to get not only a touchdown here or there. You're hoping on 1 touchdown a game like Aaron Jones was more or less averaging, plus the rushing production. Ham could give you a 3 attempts for 3 yards and 3 touchdowns line, but who the hell cares?
Yeah.
Is Tank Dell droppable? I don't think so unless you really have no choice, but I think he's a hold for me, but that's just me.
Yeah, he doesn't look right. Like he does not look like the same player he was last year. I think that injury and stuff is like kind of holding him back. He just didn't get targets yesterday, which is the sad part.
Yeah, and it's going to be a struggle for him to get targets. It should happen soon. He gets New England and Green Bay next 2 weeks. Yikes. Indy, New York, Detroit. It opens up after that, but who knows what the hell is going to go on. Is Nico going to be out? That's my question.
Yeah,
I would hold Dell for now.
Yeah, me too. I think with Garrett Wilson, like I think you have to wait a little bit of time with Tank Dell for him to fully get back to the player he was last year because he just doesn't look right. So we'll see.
This is true. Even when Collins went out, Dell did nothing. But the problem was it wasn't a planned absence, so they likely game planned around Collins, and they just didn't adjust properly to Dell. So that's more of a stuck to the game plan issue and not necessarily a Dell issue. So I don't think it'll be that way if Nico is out long term.
Yeah, the offense can take
him or Dowdle.
Dowdle, baby. The Cowboys RB1.
And looked good against Pitt. Good against Pittsburgh. So
he looks like the only NFL running back they have on that roster. Like is Elliott, like you saw Zeke putting on shoulder pads immediately. His shoulder was like, like that dude's dust. Like there's just nobody else on that roster. That's really good.
Yeah, I dropped him yesterday before the game in a dynasty league. Why?
Yeah, like Dowdle's fine. The rest of the guys just suck. So I think he'll be okay.
Bears 36, Panthers 10. Andy Dalton won't be the Panthers starter by week 8.
I'm going to push back a little bit because the thing about the Bears defense is it's one of the better defenses in the NFL. They struggled against it. I think we probably should have expected them to struggle. Maybe not that level, but guess who he gets? He gets Atlanta, Washington coming up the next 2 weeks. I think he'll be fine, closer to what he was. But it's nice. They're still trying to, they're trying to push the offense. They're trying to do the thing. So I think he'll be okay the next couple of weeks. It's just he's going to be up or down. It's the Joe Flacco thing, right?
That's the coaching staff's fault, wherever the hell I can point over that way. It's the coaching staff's fault for the game plan, not Stroud's. I think Stroud's too young to be able to pull in the Aaron Rodgers, calling audibles on the line. So I think that'll change. Sorry, you were saying?
Yeah, that offense needs Nico. Like that's the key. Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm saying I think Dalton's going to be starting past that. Would be my guess.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're probably done with the Bryce Young experiment. He came in, was fine. But, the Bears we have to readjust our expectations. This Bears defense, you should not be passing on them. We should not expect massive passing days from mediocre quarterbacks against the Bears. Only really elite offenses can, I think, do something against them. They're getting it together. On the flip side, Caleb Williams is looking like he's the real deal. So
Chicago's giving up 174 passing yards a game. Like that.
Yeah, it's rough.
They're really good. They have a really good defense.
Rest of season, Andy Dalton or Bo Nix, who looked pretty damn good yesterday.
It's matchup dependent, I would say. Like, I don't mind Nix because he's a rusher. Like, I always chase rushing quarterbacks just because how they score points. So I don't mind going Nix if you want an upside shot. I think Dalton's more of a foreplay.
Yeah, that was going to be my point. Is he only had 9 yards on 8 attempts, but he did get in the end zone on the ground. He's always running the ball around, roughly 6.5 to 7 rushes per game for Nix. So yeah, give me Nix.
Bears side of the ball, DeAndre Swift, top 12 running back rest of season. Buying or selling?
12 or top 24?
24. Can I not read? Top 24.
You said 12. I heard 12.
I cannot read. Yep. I read good.
Whoop.
I read good.
If they're going to use him at this rate, yes. Oh, no, you go ahead, Jeremy.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, that's what I was going to say. The last 2 weeks, granted, they played terrible offenses, so we need to take what's happening in Chicago on offense with a grain of salt. Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, and DeAndre Swift. They played the Rams. They played the Panthers. RB3 and RB2 in the past 2 weeks for DeAndre Swift, 16 carries and 21 carries. That's ridiculous. If he continues to get this volume, which is Jesse's point, excellent. The other thing is he's been super, super productive through the air. 7 for 72 last week, this past week, yesterday, 2 for 47. So this will not sustain for any running back out of the backfield. That said, is he a top 24? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's game script dependent and the teams they play against. Because your point, they played 2 of the worst defenses in the NFL. So I was actually a little kind of like meh on his rushing attempts because 21 for 74 against the Panthers. Like, dude, you should do better. Also, he could have had 2 more touchdowns because Roshan pillaged 2 touchdowns from him. So he could have had like a 35-point game last week. So yeah, it's just we need running backs that are seeing volume. DeAndre Swift's going to see volume. So yeah. But to the guy debating versus Connor, no, I'm definitely taking James Conner. I trust the offense more. Like, I just think his usage is better. So yeah, I would take James Conner over DeAndre Swift.
But real quick on the Bears, I wrote this up with Caleb Williams. Yeah, they're facing terrible defenses, but guess who they get in the next month? Jacksonville, by Washington, Arizona. So it's going to get better. Second half of the schedule is terrible. So, wait 2 or 3 weeks, then sell all your Bears.
Yep.
On to the next matchup. We have the Baltimore Ravens 41-38 over the Bengals. I believe that was an OT game there. The Ravens have 2 startable tight ends for fantasy. Neither of them is named Mark Andrews. Charlie Kohler, baby.
This fucking hurts, man.
I'm not doing it. I'm just saying. I'm not doing this shit with playing the fucking spin the wheel of Ravens running backs. I'm just trying to be spicy.
It's crazy. If you couldn't consolidate them into one tight end, it would have been tight end last week. But it's brutal. Like
points a game. You have Travis Kelce from 3 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Andrews. Like the lingering hope is that surgery he had in the offseason and then the car accident, which magically he didn't get hurt from. I think there's multiple things going on with them this year because they're not even letting him run all the routes. The offense is weird. I get why Kohler's on the field because they want to run a lot, so that makes sense. But the fact Likely's running a lot of routes is like, all right, I don't know what's going on. So yeah, I'm not.
This was his best game, and he still sucked.
Yeah, he was the worst. So I'm fine just like not doing the Andrews thing. Like you could find other tight ends.
I mean, I don't know how 4 for 55. He didn't score. Ends up as the tight end 17 in half PPR. That's rough. We must have had some amazing tight end scores this week. Like 2 on his other, like 2 on the Ravens. That sucks. Likely scoring 2 touchdowns will not continue to happen. But Mark Andrew continues to look a little better when he catches the ball and he's running around out there, but he does not look good. It's ugly. And Kolar looked explosive. likely look like his normal self. So yeah, I'm not going Kolar over Andrews, but I will go likely over Andrews for now.
Yeah,
Jamie's right in the comments. Like Lamar just missed him on a bad pass, and then they scored a touchdown on the play. It's like he should have touched him. I completely agree.
That can be said of like every third pass Lamar throws.
Well, hey, Lamar's cooking. Lamar's like the best quarterback in the league right now. He's playing so well.
Oh, Washington, Tampa, Cleveland, Denver. That's a rough stretch for tight end.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, man.
So is being Mark Andrews. All right, Bengals side of the ball. Chase Brown, I can't apparently spell here, outscores Zach Moss rest of season.
I think easily. I think this easily happens. Sadly, for my Zach Moss shares, I don't think you can sell them at this point. You could try and maybe get a third back or whatever. But yeah, it's happening. Chase Brown for weeks has looked more explosive. Yesterday, they finally gave him a majority of the share, or at least it seemed that way. I have to look at the numbers. But Zach Moss also went out with an ankle injury as well. That ankle injury, I think, is going to keep him limited, if not out for a few weeks. That's going to propel Chase Brown forward, and then he's just going to run away with this job. So yeah, it's over for Zach Moss.
The weird thing is, like, Zach Moss saw the majority of snaps. Like, Zach Moss was on the field a lot, which is kind of what I was talking about. When Chase Brown was on the field, he got more work. It's kind of work. Neither guy was that good yesterday. Like, it's not like Chase Brown was like a good back yesterday. He had 12 for 46. It's fine. Like, it was okay. I do want to see how they're going to use if Zach Moss is out. Like, if Chase Brown is going to be the bell cow, because if he is and he does good, he can take over the job. I still have I'll hold out hope for Zach Moss when he comes back, but yeah, like, it looks like it's Browns the next few weeks if that's a high ankle sprain.
Yeah, pass protection for Zach Moss. That's why he's on the field. He can receive some work in the passing game, but he's not really doing a ton with it.
Yeah, like, we need to see Brown run routes. That's what I want to see. Like, if they get that, that's how you get a top 12 back.
Yep.
What came up here? PPR league. I'm up by 34. My opponent has KC defense, Kelsey and Hunt tonight. Do I win?
Oh, maybe
50-50.
Kelsey's going to put up about 15, right? Like, I
yes,
think
he is. I think Kelsey puts up more like 20, and then
the defense
does Derek Carr, or does Derek Carr,
you got to hope this is low scoring, because if the Saints can score, the Saints are that 50-50.
Stay out of the end zone. If Hunt gets in the end zone, that's where he's trouble. Like, that's what you need Hunt to not get a
I think you're cooked. But like and subscribe.
All right, next game, Houston 23, Buffalo 20. We'll start with Buffalo. I know he put up a few fantasy points. Keon Coleman's droppable.
I mean, it's not going well.
He didn't do shit, and Shakir wasn't. Okay, didn't say he didn't do shit. He didn't do much.
Yeah.
Did you see the clip where the ball hit him in the back?
Yes.
Like, it just, like, you don't want to turn around when you're running routes. I don't know what the hell is going on with Keon Coleman. Yeah, he's droppable. Drop his ass.
This is like, we talk about these rookie wide receivers in round one, guys. It's a second half of the year thing, because he particularly was super flawed prospect coming out. Like, I get he's older, but this is the thing with him. It's a work in progress. It's going to take some time. So it wouldn't shock me if the second half of the year he looks a lot better. But, like, just right now, he's just like, they're working out the kinks. So without freaking Khalil Shakir, like, they need somebody else. And Dalton Kincaid sucked yesterday too. They have James Cook and really nobody else doing anything good for them right now. So they need him. Like, he's going to have to prove it. Like, he'll get every opportunity. Let the team in routes run. Like, he did everything he needed to do. It's just not working for him.
Well, to be fair, Josh Allen out there looking like mankind after a Hell in a Cell match. I don't think how he clears concussion protocol. I don't fucking know. There's got to be draft picks and fines. Like, he's right out of it. Oh, smelling salts. He's all right. Send his ass back out there on the next play.
He knocked his head twice on that. Like, bang.
He's out cold. Again. He's out cold and like twitched up, and he's good. Next play, bring him right back out there.
Crazy. Yeah, that's the head coach doing the shit. It's
JD stuff. Coleman or Lockett rest of the season?
I'll go Coleman. Just take the upside shot. I mean, you could do Lockett. It's fine, but like, he's never inside our top 36 wide receiver review ranking. So it's kind of like whatever. If you want Lockett, sure. I'll take Coleman over though.
Yeah, I'll take Coleman too. But if you ask me where they finish, I think Lockett finishes better. Lockett is doing well and hasn't found the end zone yet. He's wide receiver 48 without the end zone. So if he scores, he's going to vault. We know he's capable of doing that. Coleman. Hope he improves.
Yeah. All right. To the Houston side of the ball, we have Dara Gumbawale and Cam Akers are both flex worthy until Mixon comes back. They both put up like 14 points in half PPR scoring. I know Akers is really touchdown dependent, but there were worse options. I know I started a few of them.
Yeah, Buffalo's the worst defense against running backs on the ground and through the air. Like, they're the worst on both. And what happened is they got torched by the running backs for fantasy points. So, like, you could start basically any running back against Buffalo because, like, the middle of their defense is the weakness, and that's where running backs succeed. So, yeah, like, I think it's entirely matchup dependent with Darnell Gumbawale. If they're going to be trailing in these game scripts, he's going to be on the field a lot, and that's how he scores. If it's on the flip side, like, you'll probably want to start Cam Akers in these good matchups where they're like heavily favored. But yeah, until Joe Mixon returns, it's super like flex worthy for both those guys.
Yeah, totally agree. And you're just kind of throwing a prayer. Here's the thing. Dare looked awesome through the air, 6 for 57. He had 15 carries for 30 yards against a crap run D. You got one guy in Dare who's the receiving back. You got one guy who's the pass catching back. This is the ultimate committee that we hate to see in fantasy. So if I have to, I will, but I don't want to.
Yeah, I think they just ran a lot of shotgun with him to try to like set up the defense a little bit, but he's not a good rusher. Like, I don't think anybody will tell you he's a good rusher.
No,
it was brutal.
If you hand off the ball to the running back and he trips at the line of scrimmage and falls, don't you gain more than 2 yards per carry just falling forward?
Yards per carry.
Yeah. No. Okay. So that's not good, right? All right. Rest of the season, Mixon or Pollard?
I'm going Joe Mixon. We saw the offense with Joe Mixon. Like, he's not the best running back in the world, but he's such an upgrade over these two backs. He helps them out. He does a lot of good things. Like, I think his expected points and everything was near the league leaders. Like, I'm fine with Joe Mixon in this offense as long as he's healthy. If he's not healthy, then Pollard. But yeah, I'll go Mixon.
When does Pollard come back? Or sorry, when does Mixon come back is my question. Pollard is set up. He's getting all of the work. Tajay looked good, but I think they both can eat.
Yes.
Indy Buffalo for the next 2 weeks for Pollard. I'm going Pollard.
This is juicy,
Pollard.
baby.
Yeah. Next, we have Colts and Jags. Jags win it 37-34. All right. We have some Colts who actually were useful. The Colts have 3 startable wide receivers with Joe Flacco at quarterback, Pittman, Downs, Pierce, 2 of which are on the waiver wire article because somehow Downs is still under 75%.
Man, I can't do Antonio Pierce. I get it. I've seen it. I just
Alec Pierce. Are you
Alex
starting the Raiders head coach?
A Pierce. Yeah, I mean, I can't do him either because, like, AOC, what are we doing there? But look, Alec Pierce, outside of a weird week 2 where he saw 7 targets, has had 3, 2, 2, and 3 targets. In 2 of those games, he was the wide receiver 8 and the wide receiver 8 because he's scoring touchdowns, long bombs. I can't do it. I know he's the long bomb guy, but there's no way the sufficiency is going to continue with him. But they have 2. They have Downs and Pittman with Flacco weekly. Flacco is a G.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like to your point, like it's we talk about these efficient wide receivers. This is like to the next level where it's just hitting every time pretty much when he gets a target. Like 3 for 120. That's absurd. That's just not going to sustain. So yeah, like we saw, he ran the second most routes, but like the targets per route run are entirely different. We're talking about it's Pittman, it's Downs. You can count on those guys. Pierce is you need touchdowns. Like it's going to be super boom bust with him. So I don't think you can confidently start Pierce. He's what they say is a better best ball guy. He's exactly that type of player for you.
Jesus, Colts Jag game. Antonio Pierce out here catching strays. Michael Pittman or Jamison Williams rest of the season?
J-Mo.
I know. Okay, so I'm not sure if you've written your buy low, sell high guy. Do you want to know my answer to the question? This question? I made Michael Pittman the cover of your buy low, sell high without even knowing who you were picking because I'm like, he's selling Pittman high. I know it. I don't even have to know. He's selling that. So you might want to include him because he's your cover.
That would be a good one. Yeah, I was thinking about that actually. Yeah, like if Flacco's the quarterback, then you can count on Pittman. If he is not, we've seen this with Richardson. Like Richardson, like he actually works better with Pierce because he wanted to push it downfield. So yeah, like I'll take Jamison Williams. Like he still has a really good role. He's boom or bust, but in that offense with Jared Goff, like they're gonna be playing like in the dome all day. Like, yeah, I'll take Jamison Williams.
Yep. Same.
Moving on to the Jag side here, we've got Tank Bigsby, top 20 RB rest of season. I don't believe it. Oh, but Travis Etienne is not. I think it's supposed to be top 24. Let's call it top 24. I don't think it is because we briefly discussed this earlier. I think they're just going to continue to eat into each other's role, which I think is going to limit either of them from, I think they're going to be 25 to 35 rest of season. But what do you guys think?
It's kind of up or down, right? It's tough. I'll say no. I just don't buy it. Like, I think with ETN, like they basically split work. And the thing is, ETN is dealing with a shoulder injury. They talked about it last week that he was dealing with shoulder injury. They talked about it again. And this is coming from like the broadcast booth. This isn't coming from the team. So like clearly there's something going on with ETN. And I will say the one thing is if they trade ETN, which I don't think they're going to do, but there's talk of that. So that could happen. And then Tank Bigsby could be a top 24 running back rest of the season. But I will say, like, if Tank Bigsby is available on your waivers, you should definitely go get that guy. We talked about it last week. Like, he could take over the 1A job in this backfield just because he's looked so much better. Like, he's top 5 in explosive run rate, like missed tackle. He's playing out of control, like really good. ETN's not. So
yeah,
top 24 is steep just because they're not going to give him all the work. But I'm open to
trading away your starting quarterback's college teammate. That doesn't work out well. Have we not seen this already? This does not work out well when you split up college teammates. Just ask Devontae Adams, who's pissy 2 years later.
The Jaguars' offense is not working well, that's for sure.
Barring what happens tonight, Tank Bigsby is the RB1 this week. He absolutely went off. They played Indy, right? But so I don't expect that level of production. That said, yeah, he's a top 24 guy. He's seeing the goal line work over ETN as he should be. He was even at a target in this game, which he took to the house. I don't know what ETN's deal is. He's still being featured in the passing game, which is great for him. But Tank Bigsby is a man possessed. I don't have a real issue with the schedule. It's not great, but it's not terrible. I think he's going to be fine. I think they're going to give him the 1A role. So yes, I will go. Tank is. Travis is not. I don't know. Remains to be seen.
Yeah. So
ETN or Javonte rest of season? I only asked that because Javonte actually looked decent last week, who is also probably someone to include in your sell high article. Just saying.
Oh, Javonte, what a disaster, right? He'll get there in PPR because he's catching targets, so it's fine. I'll say this: I'll take Javonte over ETN because I don't know what's happening in Jacksonville. It seems like I think Javonte has a higher floor at this point. With ETN, I don't know what's going on. If it's the shoulder injury, maybe, but I'll do Javonte. I could live with Javonte as an RB2 for you.
Yep. Same.
I have a more important question for the Broncos. I know that's not the team we're on. Sean Payton, fired before American Thanksgiving or not?
No, they won 3 straight. They're
rolling.
They're rolling. They just stopped out the Raiders.
Sorry. Look at the teams they beat down.
No, I know.
W's.
I know.
Well, Jets were one, but he's fighting with his quarterback on the sidelines.
It's going to be such an ugly game between them and the Chargers next week.
I just think he's terrible. Anyways.
I can't stand him. I don't like him at all either.
I loved him when he was a Saint, but he doesn't have Drew Brees as quarterback now, so go figure.
He said we had one more Mims on the field more. He got 1 target yesterday. Shut the fuck up, Sean Payton. Nobody's buying it.
Bet he wish he hadn't talked shit about Nathaniel Hackett, who looks like a better coach than him now. Miami 15, New England 10. Miami side, we'll start with Achane is unplayable until Tua returns.
He looked like
he's concussed right now, so he might be unplayable according to NFL concussion.
He's gonna miss next week. They're not gonna play.
Yeah, I think so too.
Until Tua returned, it's super like up and down. I was actually excited because he was starting to look good yesterday, and it just concussion ruled him out really early, and then Mostert was fine. So. Yeah, I don't mind like if you're worried about him and you have good running backs. I'm sitting in the borderline RB2 range. Like I'm gonna fire Achane. Like I just trust the talent is too good with him. So I don't know necessarily I agree with that. So I'll say he's still playable.
Yeah, he's playable, but he's more flex playable than anything else right now. We downgraded all these guys. The nice thing that I saw was against a decent defense in New England. Some of these guys showing signs of fantasy life, like Tyreek Hill, like Raheem Mostert, like even Jalen Waddle, Jonnu Smith out of nowhere. So Miami can do it. And especially if they're going up against these Indianapolis and Carolinas of the terrible fantasy world, if that's the case. I haven't looked at their schedule, but if they get some good matchups, I think you can play these guys more often than not. And I'm excited for Mostert in the short term. He's a guy I was high on in the preseason. If he's healthy and getting the work like he was 19 carries yesterday, it'll be good games for him ahead.
Yeah, Achane or JT? Achane, JT rest of the season. Both hurt, both not doing well, both with backup quarterbacks. I think it's JT at this point for me.
I'll take JT. With like Flacco's at least keeping that offense viable. Without Tua, they put up 15 points. Like it's just it's not a good offense. So until Tua comes back, like we don't know when that's happening. Maybe he comes back. I'm going to take JT for now.
The only thing is you got to think long-term. Concussion has less of an impact theoretically than high ankle sprain, unless it's a really bad lingering concussion.
Yeah,
which is possible
unless
always.
it's a really bad high ankle sprain, though. That's the other thing too. We've seen that in the last couple of years take guys out for a month and a half.
Even like any high ankle sprain, yeah, that's what I mean. Any high ankle sprain, 4 to 6 weeks of shit production normally. So
yeah, you could. It's not good. It's not good. I will say Jalen Wright looked awesome. Yeah, like they have a bye next week, but if this thing is lingering with Achane, pick up Jalen Wright because he's 13 for 86. He's going to be explosive back. So yeah.
New England Patriots side. Is it time to start Drake Maye?
Yes. Throw him in there, man. Just throw him in there. I don't even care. Like, do something. Like, we saw this. Jalen Polk almost made like a superstar catch in the end zone, and it just didn't come down. It looked like a touchdown. It didn't happen. They almost won that game. But, yeah, man, it's a disaster.
Hey, Jeremy, true story. I traded in that league where my players are all on bye, and I'm against another team on bye. I traded you for Jacoby Brissett. I'm going to lose to a team that started Mecole Hardman and Isaac Garendo because he only put up 7.3 points.
Should have come got Zach Ertz instead.
I sent you the offer first. You declined it.
I did. I want to keep him. I want to try and trade his ass somewhere else. So
the Ertz Brissett debate, man. Jeez.
Here's the thing: is look, should Drake Maye be starting? Yes. Should this team be trying to win games? No. Should they spare Drake Maye the potential injury and anguish that he's going to face behind that crap offensive line with David Andrews now out for the year? Absolutely. I don't want to see Drake Maye out there. You can throw him out there in spurts and then like week 14 start giving him a couple of starts here or there. See if you have something viable because we have a top 5 pick. And as a Patriots fan, and if we need another QB, we need to know. But if he looks good in practice, like just
top lineman,
not too much. Take it easy.
Whatever the top lineman is, Patriots draft him for the love of God.
100%. Yeah. Tackle, number one tackle. Yes, ours.
I will say Drake Maye Polk has an interest to me because he ran the most routes. He looked good. Like he can connect with him. I just don't. Brissett can't support anybody.
The obvious quarterback solution is to bench Brissett and just start Antonio Gibson out of the Wildcat for the rest of the season.
I'll give him that.
All right. Drake Maye or Deshaun Watson rest of season?
I mean, yeah.
Drake Maye.
Watson's a disaster. It's so Jover for Deshaun Watson, man. Just banish him from the league. Just make this happen. I don't want to see him.
Unbelievable. He's still starting. Like I get the contract. I get that. It's unbelievable. He's still starting. You have to bench him for whoever you have. If you have Mason Rudolph, if you have I understand you have Jameis, who's kind of viable. I understand you have DTR, but like if you had anyone, if you had name a quarterback.
Hey, guess what?
You already did Mason Rudolph. You already said Mason Rudolph. That wins. Mason Rudolph. I heard Rudolph and you win. I don't care if you were talking about the red-nosed reindeer. I'm starting him over Watson. 100%. Let's move on. Denver 34, Raiders 18. Fuck, the Raiders are awful. Aidan O'Connell will be a top 24 quarterback rest of season. He was decent last year.
No. Like you could, he's just not good, and that offense sucks right now. Like I get it, I understand they were okay in this game. They played Denver, but like he came in 10 for 20, threw a pick. It's just like
I don't think he's going to be good, but like top 24. I think Watson's currently top 24, and he's fucking awful.
I would expect Watson to outscore him. Like
that's horrible.
Watson outscored both quarterbacks yesterday, like for the Raiders.
No, I know you're right. It's just fucking disgusting.
Oh, I know. The vibes are down bad, but yeah, top 24. No, I'll say top 28. Like he'll be the least of my quarterbacks that I'll start. It's bad.
Yeah. Somehow Patrick Surtain gave up some yards. I know he wasn't shadowing Jacoby Myers. There's nobody worth shadowing on the team with Devontae Adams sideline. He still got 2 picks in the game, right? So he still showed up big time.
100-yard pick six.
Ridiculous.
He was tired. That's how he gave up points. He returned to pick 100 yards and then was too tired to cover anyone. If
AOC is the starter, and here's the thing that Jamie's asking. Yeah, I'm going the other direction here. If AOC is the starter, you try to sell him for whatever you can get. I don't want anything to do with him. With Devontae Adamless Raiders, no, I'm not paying anything.
instead of buying these like this roster clogger-esque quarterbacks, just play like skill position players in your flex, like your super flex spot. You will get more. It's completely viable. If you're a contending team, you should have pieces besides quarterback. If you're debating starting the AOCs of the world, just put in a skill position player. They'll give you more points. It's so much better. You don't have to worry about that. I think that's kind of the thing where we get to that point of quarterback. It's like we've gone too far.
Did you not just hear my speech about losing with Jacoby Brissett to Mecole Hardman and fucking Isaac Garendo?
Those 7 points, they ain't gonna do nothing for you. It's
like AOC or Will. Well, but that's the thing. Some of these quarterbacks are so bad. Jacoby Brissett is one more pick away from putting up negative points. So,
it's brutal. That's brutal.
AOC or Will Levis rest of season. That's fucking.
Do I have to pick? Like, I guess Easy. Will Levis. I don't want either one of these guys. Just
if
this is like fantasy. It's like fantasy jigsaw where it's like, do you want to cut your arm off or your foot?
If you're starting either one of the guys in redraft, like you have completely failed. Like I will just say that. It's a disaster. So
I'm gonna bank on Levis getting better. But
yeah, I guess Levis. I don't know because like I think they can go back to Minshew is the thing with like the Raiders. Like they'll get frustrated at AOC. It's gonna be a yo-yo effect. It might be the same thing in Tennessee. So I guess none of the above would be my answer.
Denver
week 6.
Denver side of the ball. Javonte Williams and Jaleel McLaughlin are both flex worthy. If I could spell Jaleel.
Jaleel's role has been weird this year. He's been super up or down. I much more trust Javonte. Like Javonte is getting the majority of the work and playing the roles, but like Jaleel, he's been just super up or down. So I don't know what to do with Jaleel. I liked him going in. There was all the stats supporting him, but he just has not been used. Like he ran 11 routes, 3 targets. Like it's Javonte's backfield, man.
Have you met Sean Payton?
Yeah, chaos.
That's the answer. Sean fucking Payton. Nothing, Jeremy. You just fuck him. Okay. Jaleel McLaughlin or Gibson rest of the season.
And Jaleel McLaughlin is the answer. Like fuck Antonio Gibson, fuck Sean Payton. It's ridiculous. I can't even deal with this. Javonte is the guy that you want to own, but guess what? You don't want to own any Denver Bronco running back. But okay, Javonte. And that being said, Antonio Gibson, no, why? He was the clear starter. He was given the role. Ramondre was benched, and he's on the worst team in football, and he sucks. And Ramondre outproduced him by a ton. It's no one. The answer is no one.
Did you see the Ramondre meme online? It says live look at Ramondre being benched, and it's a SpongeBob episode where he puts someone in jail and he immediately comes around. He's like, "Oh, okay, you're free to go." So
if an injury happens to Javonte, like pick up Estime, he's gonna fill that role. Like they're not gonna have Jaleel play that role. So
Estime's on the IR.
No, I know, but he should come back at some point, right?
You would think.
Don't pick up anyone. The answer is no one. It's Javonte or no one.
Hey, we're down bad. We're down bad.
Somehow the Giants beat the Seahawks 29-20. Tyrone Tracy will take the starting running back role from Devon Singletary by week 8. We've been saying Tyrone Tracy all fucking off season. I've been holding him everywhere, and he was on my bench in every league this week when he went off. So, yay me.
Oh, no. Got to throw him in there. Trust your boy. I threw him in Scott Fishbowl 20 points.
I didn't need him anywhere.
Scott Fish.
Yeah.
I have him in Scott Fish, and I didn't need him. I'm up by 40 points, and I still have Shaheed left.
Yeah, I mean, he looked really good. And the thing I was talking about with the Seahawks defense that came to fruition, that defense is still not healthy. They don't look right. So what happened is the Giants kept the game competitive, and they trusted Tracy. They started out with Eric Gray. He fumbled, blew his opportunity, 100 yards, and guess what? He's like, all right, let's go with Tracy. Tracy looked just better overall. Now, he didn't really get much pass catching work, which was kind of interesting because he's a former wide receiver playing running back. So I found that part very interesting. But if you look at his usage, like he was good in this game. I will take a shot on Tracy. I don't know if he's going to take it because it's an injury, unless he's just going to wally him. But if you look at the usage, like Tyrone Tracy ran more routes, he was more involved. So like, yeah.
What did you say? Unless he's going to what?
Wally Pipp.
I thought I heard you say that.
Yeah. Lou Gehrig took the job from Wally Pipp because he got injured. Lou Gehrig stepped in.
You got a Wally Pipp reference? What?
Yes, sir. We're bringing it out. Yeah. I'll definitely take him over Spears though. Like I'll do that over Spears. I don't think Spears taking the job from Wally as much as I like Spears. So I'll shoot the moon. Tracy said, "Why not? Let's ride it. Let's see how it happens."
My concern here is that they featured Eric Gray before he fumbled because I think they want to keep Tyrone Tracy in his role. Right. They want when Devon Singletary comes back. This is like a Miami situation where when everybody's healthy, you have Mostert and you have Achane on limited work being highly efficient. This is the same situation here. They want to keep Tyrone Tracy in his role. but they couldn't because Eric Gray fumbled, and we saw what he could do. They may be forced to give him more work, like you're saying, in the pass game as well. But I think when Singletary comes back, it's a split. And yeah, he'll be flex worthy, but this offense is.
You want to hear a fun stat from Jacob Gibbs? Tyrone Tracy is the only running back in the NFL to gain positive yardage on every single run with 15 or more rushing attempts. Like, that's really, really good. Like, I'm like, okay. So we'll see how it goes. He's an older back. I like him to push and make it harder.
That is a fun stat.
Wait. But before this game, he had, let me do some quick math, 12 carries. 12 carries before this game. He had 18 carries in this game. Jesse, who did he play this week?
My down bad Seattle Seahawks defense. But guess who they
got down bad?
The Bengals defense.
Did you go to the game, Jesse?
No.
Why didn't you go to the game?
Because I got a kid and I got to watch her and stuff like that. So,
do you know you could have taken your kid and it was not even that expensive, right? You could have just used promo code FF Universe over at SeatGeek to get $20 off your first order. And then you could have taken your kid to watch Seattle lose to Daniel Jones. And then you would have wished you hadn't gone. But
if somebody would have told me about this, I would have used it. Should have known better.
Hey, like and subscribe. We're shilling for the man. Let's go.
Hey.
We are officially corporate sellouts, boys. Yeah.
Oh, good Lord. What are we doing?
But yeah, I do think Tracy's going to push Singletary because he just looks better and he's been better, like given the work. So it's like kind of like you can't put the genie back in the bottle type thing. So I think if anybody's going to push, like we know Singletary, he's like limited as far as running backs go. Like he's not the best running back in the world. He's good. He's solid. I think he can push him towards the end of the season.
The other side of the ball, Ken Walker is a top 10 running back rest of season. He looked like a fucking beast. Thoughts?
Not yesterday. He did not.
Well, in the passing game, he had a good role
on my fantasy lineup. He looked like a beast. I don't give a shit what he looks like on the field, boys. I do not play in the NFL. I play fantasy football.
Is he top 10? Yes, he's top 10. He always was top 10. This is a weird down game. The Giants were able to, do whatever they want against that line. That's the real issue here is the offensive line. But if they're going to continue to feature him in the passing game, and at the expense of Zach Charbonnet, which I thought he would get a little bit more work than he did, Walker is locked in. I'd go higher than top 10. I might go top 6, top 5.
Yeah, I think. And the question of Walker or Cook, I think it's a very good question between these two backs because they're both. The thing about Walker is what he does is he helps this offensive line out because he makes those explosive plays. He's just a nightmare in space because he's so fast. The Seahawks offensive line is a serious problem, and Geno Smith was under duress all game, so it really just destroyed the offense yesterday. Against the Giants D-line, that's like the one good thing they have on defense. Like, they can get to the pressure. They got it. I don't mind Walker. I think he's really good. If you're giving him 8 freaking targets a game, like, hey, that's going to be really good. So, yeah, I slightly prefer Walker to Cook, but both are really good guys.
Jamie's bold prediction this offseason was Walker will be considered for, Well, it's funny because I traded for him in a dynasty league in his rookie year, and he was a top 5 dynasty running back then. Then he went from a top 5 to like 20 to 25. Then he's in now, like his fucking value is all up and down, and it's all over the damn place. But drafting a running back in the second round will do that. Next up, we have the Packers 24, the Rams 19. Dontayvion Wicks is a flex play rest of season at best. Overreaction? Probably.
I'll say that's a bit of an overreaction. Like we want to follow the usage of Dontayvion Wicks. He was with Jaden Reed, it was Wicks and Reed were the 2 focal points of the offense. Wicks led in targets and like routes and all of those things. So he was good. It's just one of those games that didn't connect. We've seen it with like Amari Cooper and these guys. Sometimes the games they don't hit. Jordan Love YOLO'd it to Jaden Reed. It was a crazy pass on one like early in the game. Offense kind of struggled a little bit. Jordan Love was kind of up or down. But like I saw someone say he's like Brett Favre reincarnated as a player, and I'm like, he kind of is. He's very much a gunslinger. So yeah, I much prefer Wicks. If you're connected to Jordan Love, like Judy's in the Browns offense, and he's an ancillary piece. No, thank you. I think Dontayvion Wicks still. It really comes back to when Watson comes back and how they split up these snaps. But if he's good enough, he's going to stay on the field, and it's going to be him. And with Dubs, that's the more concerning thing. Like, that's what I want to find out with Dubs because they suspended him. We'll see how it goes this week. So I'm fine with Wicks as that. I was like, yeah.
Arizona, Houston, Jacksonville, Detroit before the bye. Those are the next 4 games for Dontayvion Wicks. We're assuming that Romeo Doubs is going to be, I don't know, he might just be, DNR at this point. Like he's done. Like, he might be shipped off the team. Who knows how long Christian Watson's going to be out? It's going to be another week or two, I think. Fire up Dontayvion Wicks, 7 targets, only 2 receptions. That will not happen every week.
Dobbs scares the shit out of me. These situations, there's always one of 2 outcomes. It's either really terrible and he's done and he's just going to be fucking out of the league by next year, or he gets the message and comes back and he's the fucking world beater, and it's a problem for everyone, including Reed. But I don't know. I think it's Reed and Wicks at this point. Wicks or Jerry Jeudy?
Wicks, easy.
Wicks.
Also, Tucker Kraft looks like a difference maker. Like Tucker Kraft, baby, tight end. He's top 5.
Fucking Luke Musgrave. Remember him?
Oh, my heart hurts for that one.
Who?
Yeah, the ghost.
All right.
This just in Bleacher Report. Trying to get the full one. Devontae trade could come soon.
Let's go.
Jets. It's the Jets, isn't it?
Jets.
The Athletic says within the next 48 hours, the Raiders want to move him from the Athletic.
It's the Jets, and he's going to officially kill Garrett Wilson.
You know who could use him? The Cowboys. They have no other good wide receivers.
The Bills. The Steelers.
Cowboys already said they're not interested, which
They're
I mean
so
to be
dumb,
a smoke screen, but still.
Well, they got to pay all their guys, so I get it. But like his contract is really easy to get out of after this year. It's basically $1 million a game from this point forward. It's not bad. So if a team's a contender, you know what he would fit in really well? The Ravens, because then it puts Zay Flowers in a better role. Like if they want to be the Super Bowl contender, I think he should go to the Ravens. I don't know about for fantasy, but I would love to see it. And then Mark Andrews, see you later.
Rams side here. Colby Parkinson is the best Rams pass catcher until Cup and Puka returns.
No, it's Jordan Whittington. He's been available. He's been open. He's made some nice catches. He got hurt late in the game, so we'll see if that lingers and what actually happened. I know he went to the tunnel. I don't know why. But no, Colby Parkinson is not. It's Whittington. Demarcus Robinson just can't get open against number 1 coverage. He still managed to score a touchdown in this one. So I do like firing up these wide receivers in plus matchups. But yeah, Parkinson, he's interesting because he plays the tight end position.
I just think he's the most consistent. It's boring consistent, but like I feel like at the receivers, it's 1 or 2 of them putting up a decent stat line, but it's rotating between 4 of them. Robinson, Whittington, I forget the other 2. I can't remember here, but
the most important one, Tutu. Tutu's been the best of all of them.
Tutu,
he's been triple digits 3 straight games. Like he saw good usage. Like he's the explosive element. Whittington's kind of playing the Cooper Kupp role. Like I think you can count on them. And the thing with Robinson is he's good as a 3rd wide receiver. When he's like your X wide receiver, that's where it's a disaster. So like until those guys come back, I'm fine with those other guys.
And my question is, when does Tyler Higbee come back? He's on the PUP, I think, right now.
Never.
Yeah, he's ineligible, but I don't think there's any news. So if he comes back, Parkinson's done. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think we should just stream Parkinson in the meantime until we get better news. Because
I agree.
Parkinson or Freiermuth?
Freiermuth.
Yeah, Freiermuth. I'll say it's like the same tier player. I'm not super into Freiermuth. Like 3 targets last week. It's just I don't know. I think Freiermuth's capped. So is Parkinson. I'll just take the guy connected to Matthew Stafford as opposed to the guy connected to Justin Fields.
I get it.
Next up, Dallas 20, Pittsburgh 17. Jalen Tolbert, top 30 dynasty wide receiver. I might even say top 24 by end of season.
Woo! Spicy.
Top 30, no. It's going to be close. One thing I like is that Brandon Cooks is out. I don't like it for Brandon Cooks. He's got a knee infection. I don't know what that means, but it sounds like it means something terrible. He's going to be out for a while. Dallas is being a knee infection. That's what I've heard. Google it. Let's see what that means, but it sounds bad. So he's going to be out for a while. I think one of the Joneses came out and said, we'll see when he comes back. Doesn't look good. I went out and traded for Jalen Tolbert in a league just before this game because I thought it was coming. I didn't think it was coming as soon as this week against Pittsburgh, but he's the clear number 2B behind Ferguson. He's going to get a similar amount of targets and he'll be competing with Ferguson. The good news is even with Rico Dowdle looking good last week, the Cowboys are going to still throw it a lot. Tolbert is viable. Is he a top 24? I would say no. Is he top 30? Yeah, he's right there. He's right there.
Speaking of knee injuries, before I forget, if you're in any redraft leagues, where you have a manager sending you an offer. I only know because I got one in one of my other leagues, an offer for Rashee Rice because they believe he's only going to be gone 4 to 6 weeks. Sell him now. I have good reason to believe that when they scope his knee and go in to clean it up this week, Rashee's going to be done for the year. They haven't officially announced anything.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just going off of years of medical experience, not a doctor, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be I read the original timeline said could be as low as 2 to 4 weeks. I think Rashee's going to be done, and I think you're going to learn it this. No, but I've had a guy buy him from me in a redraft league. And actually, it was a keeper league where he couldn't be kept anyways. He gave me a 2nd-round pick next year for Rice because he thinks Rice will be back in a month.
Okay. That's stupid. But like I mean, people, they want to do what they want to do. But yeah, for redraft, no. Like 2025, like he still has a possible suspension. We don't know. It's going to be a while before.
It could be 2 years.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be gone the whole year.
No, like a year and a half. But
yeah, like it's entirely possible. Like I think he's a good NFL wide receiver. It's going to be a while before he comes back. But redraft, yeah, I'm out. No, thank you. And then on your question on Wandale or Tolbert, Wandale, like I much prefer Wandale. Tolbert has had years to be a good like wide receiver, and he's done nothing. So maybe he's like the slow progression, kind of like Neil Collins. It ticks and it ticks and it ticks. Obviously, Neil Collins is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. I don't expect anything like that. Anything like follow that track, right? But like top 30 dynasty wide receiver, there's so many good wide receivers. Like I would have Tolbert as like a top 60 wide receiver right now in dynasty. Mm-hmm. We'll see how it goes if he progresses up. So yeah, no on top 30 dynasty wide receiver.
Yeah, he needs to work on his hands.
Rest of season, not now.
Oh yeah, no, I don't. I'm not confident in that.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
I'm not a doctor, but
I'm right with you.
Well, okay, Jamie, what do you think? How long do you think he's going to be? If he plays a doctor on the internet, so I want his knowledge.
I think he was talking about you.
Well, I'm not. I'm not. Shut up! I'm not a doctor. I don't play with
years of medical experience, Aaron.
I said specifically, I'm not a doctor. God damn it! I was a fucking operating room nurse, not a doctor. Fuck you. Hey, I'm not an asshole. I just play one on TV.
I want you to get in the operating room. Use your credentials. Tell us. Give us the info first. We'll be
I am not licensed in Kansas City or anywhere in the States. Thank you very much. Unless Rashee Rice wants to come to Ontario for his knee scope.
Come on, Rashee. We got you. We'll look you up.
You need to be our like behind the scenes injury guy, and you need to get into the hospitals with your connections and credentials and give us some behind the scenes looks.
Dude, I'm gonna be like everyone else on the internet. I'm gonna give serious medical opinions with like nothing more than a 4th grade education. And I'm just never going to tell anyone that I don't fucking know what I'm talking about. Anyways,
have it down below. I'm not a doctor, and then it's perfect.
Yeah. Yes. Russell Wilson doesn't start a game for the Steelers this season, believe it or not.
Yeah, that calf injury is lingering, isn't it? Yeah, I don't think I had a question where I was like, who plays more games the rest of their career, Watson or Russell Wilson? I don't even know. Like both guys are just, it's rough. Yeah, I don't. The only way I think he gets on the field is an injury because Fields is playing well. He's doing enough. Like he played well enough in this game to get it done. Like he wasn't great by any means, but Cowboys defense is good. Yeah, like it's open, but no, I think Russell Wilson's not going to start again for them.
I think he starts a game without injury. That said,
confirmed by the doctor.
There's a reason.
2 doctors.
There's a reason that Russell Wilson has not been starting, and it's not a calf injury. It's because he sucks. He's just done. I don't know why they keep signing him. They must have brought him in for a workout sign. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I think he does, but I don't think he should. Field so far has been good.
I never fucking considered this. If they don't put him on IR and they rush it through, maybe they know he's done for the year and they eat this. That's fucking. I never considered that. If he's not officially on the IR.
So this is what I heard. I think it was Matt Waldman. It could have been the Fantasy Pros guys, but somebody was talking about this idea that his people and his team, Rashi's team, if they're able to kind of avoid the IR and the Chiefs are able to play ball, which it seems like they have been already, they don't put him on IR, then he can like serve his suspension while recovering. And then,
I never
kill 2 birds with 1 stone there.
If he cuts a plea here and gets this over with and says, expedite this shit right now, say they do know he's done for the season, let him serve his suspension, then put him on he may not be a doctor, but that's a good idea, Jay.
Yeah, they got to expedite the legal process because the NFL always waits for that.
But if he cuts a plea deal right away and just moves on, takes his slap on the wrist, and say he gets 8 games, he doesn't give a shit if he's out for the season.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
That makes sense, man.
I would do it if I was him.
But so I've been saying it. I know we're not on that game right now, but I've been saying it for a week and a half now, saying something doesn't make sense. Everything, like you see all the doctors saying swelling shouldn't affect them knowing. They should know. They probably know. Why aren't they saying? That's a good idea, Jamie. That's probably why they're not saying. Fields or A-Rich rest of season? That's a disgusting sounding question.
Richardson, because I expect him to play, and I trust Richardson's upside a little bit more. But the Fields, like the offensive structure, kind of worries me. If Pickens and the issues are going on with Pickens, like he gets suspended or whatever, we saw that offense. Like the wide receivers are abysmal. Like they're just like basically borderline NFL wide receivers. It's not good, man. Like that offense really needs Pickens. So like I'm fine with A-Rich, and it might burn me again. I've been burned by A-Rich multiple times, so I'm gonna keep rolling out. We'll see how it goes.
I'm going to go Fields. I think the Colts really just need to roll with Flacco for the time being. A-Rich needs to sit. He needs to learn. He can't do this by sitting, but he needs to learn how to protect the football and protect himself. In practice, maybe they can, figure out a way that he can learn from Joe Flacco. I don't know that he can necessarily because their games are so different. But yeah, I'm going Fields. I think A-Rich should sit for a while, and he will sit for a little bit. He'll have another injury this coming week, and we'll see what Flacco can do because Flacco played lights out last week, even though they lost that game. And yeah, I think Fields gets it done. Pittsburgh will eventually have a running game, which is what we know Arthur Smith needs to have a functional offense. Yeah, that's not going to happen until Jalen Warren comes back.
2 games left. We're over an hour. Let's fucking go. Cleveland Browns. Do I have that score backwards? Did they win?
No.
They
got beat down.
34-13 Washington, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I wrote it in backwards. I was like, they didn't fucking win. What am I? 34-13 Washington. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Yep. Deshaun Watson, droppable in Superflex, and Watson or Rodgers. I have FFU Dynasty, my 2 quarterbacks, Watson and Rodgers. Kill me now.
You can't drop them.
In Dynasty leagues, no. Like, if you need the player, like, and he's going to play, like, sure. But, like, we talk about these guys, Watson's just better at putting up fantasy points than Rodgers. That's the entire thing. So, it's going to be matchup dependent. I don't think I'm going to drop them in Superflex redraft leagues just because,
he's right.
The Browns feel like they're cursed due to their own making a lot of bad decisions on their part. But, yeah, no, and Rodgers, I guess, I don't want either one of these guys to tell the truth. Watson, if he's playing, so just give me Rodgers. Screw it. I know he's going to start. I'll say that.
Yeah. Hold and pray with Watson, but take Rodgers. Rodgers' second half of the schedule is nice.
Yes.
Commander side, B-Rob and Eckler in an even split moving forward. No. Could have just been some B-Rob injury. It wasn't an even split, but
that's what it's injured. Like B-Rob, we talked about this. Like injury people on Twitter were talking about this too. He's going to be like lightly managed in this game. He could play, but they were just going to be careful with him. So that's what we saw. Eckler played a bigger role. I will say Eckler is getting like the passing down usage and been good for them. So like, you know what? He's fine. Like he's fine flex play. I think B-Rob goes back to like the high end running back we've seen before.
Yeah, and McNichols 7 for 44 and a touchdown in this one. So will he continue to get the work because he's looking good? Who knows? But why are we talking about these guys and not talking about Jaden Daniels? Jaden Daniels, early MVP candidate. He just looks awesome. He is, orchestrating this offense to a T. I don't care if it's simplified. I don't care, if he's not running a pro style or he's relying on his legs. Whatever. He looks awesome. He's great for fantasy. He's great for reality. He's winning. He's it.
But that's the thing. Everyone keeps saying, well, he's Anthony Richardson. It's going to come crashing. He's not relying on his legs. He's running when he has to, but he's throwing the ball more. So
yeah, the difference is he played a ton of games in college as opposed to Anthony Richardson. Like he played 5 years pretty much in college.
Yes,
like he's really good. And like this was the test for him. Like Cleveland, like they're supposed to be a good defense, and he passed. He started out, he struggled early, but like he erased some of these sacks with his speed, and he turned it into like a sack into a 30-yard run. Like that's what he does. It's game breaker. It's similar to Lamar Jackson. Like it's really hard to contain.
He is Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, that's what it is.
All right, last game we have Arizona 24, San Fran 23. That doesn't seem right, but somehow the Cardinals do it. Kyler Murray, top 5 quarterback rest of season.
I mean, yeah, it's close. He's up in that. He's in that range, I will say. I'll say top 5 just because quarterback is kind of down across the board, and he was really good against San Francisco. This was like a big get back game for him because we were kind of wondering he's been up and down throughout the season so far. So, yeah, I'm fine with Murray in top 5. I think he's really good. And to your question against Mahomes, I'm definitely taking Murray over Mahomes at this point.
Yeah, definitely Murray over Mahomes. I'll say top 2, Not because I believe it, but because from the 40-yard line, Murray put up the deuces as he smoked that defense. It was so ridiculous. The rushing upside is always there weekly. We're talking about Jaden Daniels. You put Kyler Murray in the conversation with Lamar. Those guys, those three guys are amazing rushing quarterbacks just with their speed alone. So, yeah, Kyler Murray top 5. I'm going to say no, but top 8, yeah, absolutely.
Jeremy, you're going to the London game in what, 2 weeks?
Yeah, 2 weeks. I think it's Patriots. I know it's Patriots. I think they're playing.
You're not going this week, though?
No, see, this week, it's interesting. The Jags are there this week, but I think they're playing the Bears. 2 more London games or 3 London games in a row. So, yeah, it's really interesting. But why do you ask?
If you were going, if you wanted to go this week, how would you do it?
Yeah, I don't really know. How would you do it?
I would go over to SeatGeek and use promo code FFUniverse to get $20 off my first offer. Because we're corporate sellouts now. You are welcome. All right. Kyler Murray or Patrick Mahomes rest of season?
Murray, not even close.
Yep.
Damn. I didn't think that would be so fucking definitive.
Oh, yeah.
Them apples. All right. Let's close it out here with the Niners. As of now, Brock Purdy, not a top 12 fantasy quarterback.
I mean, he's in that Goff range, which is actually a good question why you have those two together. They're touchdown dependent because they don't rush. So they got to be effective and efficient every week. That offense struggled. They should have won this game. They turned it over. They gave him a chance. It was a fumble. It just didn't go well. So they were set up to just run the clock out, and they blew it. So we'll see. They get the Seahawks this upcoming week, Thursday Night Football. They desperately need this game because if they lose this game, they're going to be well behind in the division. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm going to say he's just outside my top 12, but he's in that range.
Yeah, probably. Jesse, we were talking about it earlier this offseason. Brock Purdy's touchdown rate was ridiculous. I don't know what the case was, but he's a good scrambler. The problem was last week he had to scramble for his life multiple times. So I don't know what's going on in that offensive line. Maybe they're dealing with injury. Maybe they're just terrible. But yeah, it didn't work really well for Mason. Arizona came to play on defense, and Brock Purdy didn't get his touchdown. Instead, he threw 2 interceptions, game killers as well. And the turnovers killed them in this one.
Yeah.
I kind of worry the same thing about Baker Mayfield. If you look, it's like under 200 yards passing in most games.
Running hot.
But it's 50 yards rushing and 3 passing touchdowns. The second he doesn't throw 3 passing touchdowns, or he throws 1 touchdown and a pick, he's going to go from 35 points a game to 5 points a game. But you've been pretty good at predicting this, Jeremy. So I keep starting Baker when you tell me to. So let me know when I should bench Baker. Having said that, Burrow was my other quarterback this week, so I should have fucking started Burrow.
Yeah.
I won
anyway. Started Flacco.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is a wrap for week 5 recap here and some believe it or not. Check back tomorrow at noon for our week 6 waiver wire targets. Thank you all for tuning in. Take care. We will see you tomorrow.